Vittoria held my camera like it already belonged to her. This should not have surprised me. Everything looked like it belonged to Vittoria when she touched it. The villa, the wine, the room, the silence, even me, if I stood too close for too long. She raised the viewfinder to her eye, and for the first time that evening, I was the one being studied. I was used to hiding behind the camera. I knew how to disappear there, but Vittoria saw that too. She lowered the lens. "You look like you want to run." I smiled. "I'm considering it." "No," she said. "You're not." Her voice was calm, too calm. That was the dangerous thing about Vittoria. She never needed to raise her voice. She could move one finger, say one word, open one door, and somehow the entire room changed shape around her. I reached for my camera. She did not give it back. Not yet. Instead, she looked at me with those controlled, dark eyes and said, "You came back. For the files?" "No." "For the next assignment?" "No." I stopped smiling. The sea was black outside the windows. The candles in the study had burned low, wax pooling like something spent. The folder for my next client lay closed on the desk between us, untouched. Vittoria stepped closer. "You came back," she said, "because every woman I sent you to taught you something about me." I should have denied it. I didn't. Because she was right, and that was where the night really began. But I should start earlier. The first time Vittoria called me, I thought she was just a fixer, a wealthy woman with connections, someone who knew people, who needed private photographers, clean discretion, and the kind of images that made secrets look expensive. She sent me to a hotel owner who never smiled, then to a professor with a private art room, then to a pianist who hated every photo of herself, then to a CEO who controlled every mirror in her building. Every time, Vittoria gave me a name, an address, and a warning. Every time, I told myself I was going because it was work. And every time, after the shoot, I ended up back at her villa with a folder in my hand and questions I wasn't supposed to ask. That evening, I arrived just before sunset. Villa Vittoria sat above the sea, like it had been built by someone who believed beauty should intimidate you first and welcome you later. Pale stone steps, cypress trees, tall windows catching the last gold of the day, and Vittoria at the door. She did not say hello. She looked at my camera bag, then at me. "You're late." I checked my watch. "I'm 7 minutes early." Her mouth moved, almost a smile. "That means you expected me to be waiting." I should have answered. Instead, I looked at her. Ivory blouse, dark trousers, hair pinned low at the nape of her neck, no bright jewelry, no wasted movement. She looked exactly like the kind of woman who could make a room behave. I lifted the leather folder. "I brought Livia's final selections." "I know." "Of course you do. I also know you kept one photo out of the official set." My fingers tightened on the folder. Vittoria turned and walked inside before I could answer. That was her favorite trick. Say something impossible, then leave you to follow. So I followed. The library was warm with afternoon light, the sea visible through tall windows. On the low table, two glasses, a crystal decanter, and a closed folder I had not brought. I noticed it immediately. Vittoria noticed me noticing. She handed me a glass. I didn't ask for a drink. You looked like you needed one. I look perfectly fine. You look like a woman who photographed a pianist after midnight and is pretending nothing happened. I stared at her. She lifted her own glass. Am I wrong? I took the drink, not because I needed it, because not taking it would have felt like losing. You ask too many questions after the job is done, I said. I don't find you jobs, Dahlia. No, I choose where to send you. There it was, not loud, not dramatic, just a sentence with enough weight to make me sit straighter. I sat across from her. Is that supposed to make me nervous? No, she said. It is supposed to make you honest. She opened the folder I had brought. The first photo was Livia Moreau at the grand piano. Beautiful, elegant, cold enough for a concert poster. Vittoria studied it for less than 2 seconds. Safe, she said. It's what they wanted. It is what they paid for. That's usually the same thing. No, she looked at me. Not with your clients. Your clients. She always said that. Not my clients. Yours. As if the second I entered a room, the women she sent me to stopped belonging to her world and became part of mine. She turned the page. Another photo. Livia looking away from the piano, not fully posed, not fully unguarded. Vittoria stopped. There she is. I said nothing. She was difficult. She was afraid. Livia would hate that word. Yes, I said. That doesn't make it less true. Vittoria looked pleased, not soft, never soft, but pleased. Good, good. Fear photographs better than vanity. I leaned back. That sounds like something a dangerous person would say. I send you dangerous women for a living. No, you send me lonely women with expensive rooms and bad coping skills. That made her smile. A real one? No, almost. But with Vittoria, almost was a lot. And yet, she said, you always go in. I looked at the wine in my glass. That's the job. Is it? Her voice had changed. Not much, just enough. I looked back at her. She was watching me over the rim of her glass, the same way she had watched me the first time she hired me. Back then, she had given me a folder and said, "This woman does not like being directed." I had asked, "Then why hire a photographer?" Vittoria had answered, "Because women who hate being directed usually need it most." I should have known. The clients were never random. Vittoria chose them carefully. And for some reason, she kept placing me in front of women who reminded me of her. I put my glass down. Why do you keep sending me to women like that? Like what? Cold, controlled, impossible. That is a very specific complaint from someone who keeps accepting. I accept because they pay well. No, Dahlia. She closed the folder. You accept because you have a weakness for women who tell the world not to come closer. I hated how calmly she said it. I hated more that she was right. You say that like you are not one of them. The room went still. Outside, the sea hit the rocks below the terrace. Vittoria looked at me for a long moment, then she smiled. This time, it was almost real. Careful. There it is. What? That tone. Her eyebrow lifted. What tone? The one that makes people obey before they know what you asked. Her eyes darkened. Not anger. Interest. That bothers you? No. Then what does it do? I should have looked away. I didn't. It makes me want to find out what happens if I don't. For the first time, Vittoria had no immediate answer, only 1 second. But I saw it. A crack. Then she stood. Come with me. I laughed under my breath. That really doesn't help your case. She walked toward the back of the library. I followed because apparently I had learned nothing from any woman Vittoria had ever sent me to. We crossed a corridor I had never seen before. The villa became quieter, less polished, more private. Vittoria opened a door. Inside was a smaller study, no grand display, no perfect reception room, a writing desk, a low sofa, tall shelves, a narrow terrace door open to the evening air. On the desk sat a fountain pen, old envelopes tied with ribbon, and another leather folder. But the thing that stopped me was the wall. Photographs, dozens of them. Women in hotel lobbies, outside galleries, at concert halls. Women stepping out of cars, walking through airports, sitting alone at restaurant tables. Some powerful, some guarded, some smiling in ways that did not reach their eyes. I moved closer. These are the clients. Some of them. You keep a wall of them? I keep records. That is not what this is. Vittoria said nothing. I studied the faces. Then I saw one photo that did not fit. A younger Vittoria, maybe 10 years earlier, standing beside a woman in a dark suit outside a gallery. Vittoria was turned slightly away from the camera, like she had noticed the lens too late. She looked beautiful and unhappy, very unhappy. I touched the edge of the photo. Who took this? Vittoria did not look at it. Someone who should not have. That sentence had sharp edges. I left it alone. For now. You don't like being photographed, I said. No. But you asked me to take your picture earlier. Yes. Why? She looked at the wall, then at me. Because every woman I send you to has a room she refuses to enter alone. And yours is this one? No. Her voice became quieter. This is the room where I pretend I am not waiting outside all of theirs. That was the first moment Vittoria stopped feeling like a mystery and started feeling like a person. Not soft, not safe, but human. There is a kind of loneliness that powerful women wear so well, people mistake it for taste, for standards, for discipline, for control. But up close, it looks the same as any other loneliness. A woman in a beautiful room, making sure no one can tell she wants someone to stay. I looked at her. Is that why you brought me here? Her hand moved, just a little, like she almost reached for something and stopped. I brought you here because you asked why I choose them. And? And because the honest answer is inconvenient. I like inconvenient answers. No, Vittoria said. You like dangerous ones. Only when they are true. Her eyes held mine. Then she opened the folder on the desk. There was no client profile inside, no address, no schedule, only a cream-colored card. On it, in Vittoria's precise handwriting, photograph the woman who chooses the door. I looked at the card, then at her. You wrote this before dinner. Yes. So this was planned, prepared. That is worse. No, she held my gaze. It is honest. I should have felt manipulated. Maybe I did, but underneath it, there was something else. Trust. Vittoria did not let people see her unprepared. If she had written that card, if she had brought me into this room, if she had let the night lead here, it was not because she had lost control. It was because she was deciding where to put it down. I reached for my camera. Her eyes followed the movement. You don't have to do this, I said. I know. You can close the folder. I know. You can give me the next assignment and pretend this never happened. I know. Then what do you want? That was the real question. Vittoria could answer almost anything except that. What do you want? Her mouth tightened. A small battle crossed her face. Then she said, I want to know what it feels like when you stop waiting for me to give you permission. The words entered the room and stayed there. I did not smile, not this time. I lifted the camera. Stand by the terrace door. She did, immediately, too perfectly. I lowered the camera. No. Her eyes narrowed. No? You are arranging yourself again. I am standing where you asked. You are performing obedience. Her chin lifted. That is a bold accusation. It is an accurate one. A spark lit behind her eyes. There. That was the real shot. Not the calm woman, not the controlled woman. The woman underneath, irritated that I could tell the difference. Take off the watch, I said. Her eyes dropped to her wrist. The watch was slim, silver, expensive, a small symbol of time managed properly. Her fingers found the clasp. Slowly, she removed it and placed it beside the card. Click. Her eyes flashed to the camera. I wasn't ready. I know. That is becoming a habit. Only with you. She looked away, but not before I caught the smile she tried to hide. Click. The second image was better. Vittoria near the terrace door, hair still pinned, wrist bare, one hand resting near the watch like she had put down more than metal. I lowered the camera and checked the screen. She did not come closer. That surprised me. Do you want to see? No, no. If I see it, I'll start correcting. That was so honest, it almost hurt. You are already correcting. Then stop me. I looked up. She said it calmly. Of course she did, but the room heard the real meaning. I stepped closer. Untie your hair. She did not move. Dahlia, you asked me to stop you. A silence. Then Vittoria reached behind her neck. The pin came free. Her hair loosened, not dramatically, not like a movie, just enough for one dark strand to fall near her mouth. And suddenly she looked less untouchable, more dangerous because of it. Click. Her breath changed. I heard it. You heard that, she said. Yes. Don't look so pleased. I'm a photographer. I appreciate good timing. She stepped toward me. Only one step. But Vittoria did not waste movement. Every step meant something. You enjoy catching women when they lose control, she said. No. No? I enjoy the moment they realize losing control doesn't destroy them. Her face went still. That one landed. I saw it. For a moment, all the women she had sent me seemed to stand between us. The hotel owner, the professor, the pianist, the CEO, all those locked rooms, all those controlled women, and Vittoria, the one who had been watching from outside, maybe learning, maybe waiting, maybe daring herself. I lowered the camera. You can tell me to stop. I know. You can tell me to leave. I know. You can open the folder and make this about work again. Her eyes held mine. No. One word. No explanation. No escape. Just no. The room felt smaller after that. The terrace door was open, the sea outside dark and endless, but the space between us had become the only thing I could see. Vittoria reached toward the camera. May I? I blinked. You want to hold it? Yes. I hesitated. Then I gave it to her. The camera looked strange in her hands. Not wrong, just newly dangerous. She studied it carefully. The weight, the strap, the lens. Then she lifted it toward me. No, I said. Her eyebrow rose. No. I'm not the subject. You were always the subject. The words were too quiet, too accurate. My smile disappeared. Vittoria looked through the viewfinder. I should have moved. I didn't. Click. The shutter sounded different when she held it. Too intimate, like hearing my own secret from across the room. She lowered it. You look like you are about to run. I am considering it. No, you are not. Confident. Observant. She looked at the screen. I hated not knowing what she saw. That was the lesson. That was what I did to other people. The lens created surrender before anyone touched you. What? I asked. She turned the screen away. You are easier to read than you think. That sounds like an insult. It is a compliment you are not ready to receive. I stepped toward her. Show me. No. Vittoria. She looked up. The camera was still in her hands. For 1 second, we were not fixer and photographer, not client and artist, not two women balancing a game of control between us. We were simply standing, too close in a private room, both aware something had already changed, and neither willing to name it first. She handed the camera back. Our fingers touched around the grip. This time, neither of us moved away. "You came back," she said. "For the files." "No." "For the next assignment." "No." Her eyes held mine. "You came back because every woman I sent you to taught you something about me." I swallowed. That was too close to the truth. "And what did they teach me?" Vittoria's fingers were still against mine. "That I choose locked doors because I know what it is to live behind one." The quiet after that was enormous. I set the camera down on the desk, not because I was finished, because this part did not need proof. Vittoria looked at the camera, then at me. "Now you stop photographing." "For a moment." "Why?" "Because I want you to ask without hiding behind the lens." Her expression changed. The woman who never asks had been easy to title, harder to face. "What do you want me to ask?" she said. "Whatever you brought me here to hear." Her control pulled tight. I could see it happen. The instinct to turn the moment into strategy, to make it elegant, to make it clever, to make it safe. I waited. That was the only thing that worked with women like her. Not pressure, not force, patience. Vittoria hated patience when it was aimed at her. Finally, she said, "Stay." Not loud, not dramatic. One word, almost simple. But it cost her. I heard that. I stepped closer. "I am staying." Not because of the assignment. No, not because I arranged dinner. No, not because I told you to. I smiled. You didn't. Her mouth curved. "No, I didn't." The wind from the terrace moved through the room. I reached out slowly, giving her every chance to step back. She did not. My fingers touched the loose strand near her face and moved it away from her cheek. It was a small gesture, nothing that needed to be hidden, nothing that would cross lines. But in that room, with Vittoria standing still under my hand, it felt more intimate than anything dramatic could have been. She closed her eyes, only for a second. Click! The sound startled both of us. The camera sat on the desk. Neither of us had touched it. Then I realized it was the old clock on the shelf behind her. One single mechanical sound. Vittoria opened her eyes. I laughed softly. She looked offended. "Do not laugh." "I'm sorry." "You are not." "I'm really not." And then she laughed too. A real one. Brief. Unprotected. Beautiful. I reached for the camera without thinking. Click. This time, the sound was real. Vittoria's laugh vanished. "You did not." "I did." That was cruel. That was honest. "You are impossible." "No," I said. "I'm patient." The words hung between us. They had followed me through too many rooms. But here, with Vittoria, they felt like they had finally reached the source. She came closer, not rushed, not uncertain. Vittoria did not rush. She chose. Her hand lifted to my collar where the camera strap had twisted against my shirt. She fixed it with 2 fingers, smoothing the fabric beneath it. The gesture was small, controlled, devastating. "You should go," she said. I looked at her hand still near my chest. Should I? No. The honesty came faster now, and I liked that too much. I think she knew. "I have the next client ready," she said. "Of course you do. Tomorrow. Cold?" "Not as cold as she pretends." "You do have a type." Her hand lowered. "Yes," she said. "One word, soft enough to disappear if I let it." I did not let it. I picked up the folder and looked at the cream card again. "Photograph the woman who chooses the door." I slipped it back inside. Then I looked at her. What happens to this story? Vittoria's eyes narrowed slightly. This story? The one where the woman who sends me dangerous clients finally lets me photograph her. That depends. On what? On how much of it you are brave enough to tell. I smiled. That was the perfect opening, so I took it. Some of it I can tell here, I said, lifting the camera. The villa, the dinner, the photographs, the way you pretended this was an assignment. And the rest? I looked at her through the viewfinder. The rest belongs somewhere private. Vittoria's mouth curved. You are negotiating in the middle of my confession? Only softly. Very unprofessional. You hired me. I did. And if they want to know what happened after the camera stopped, she stepped into the frame, closer than before. Then they know where to find the private continuation, she said. Click. That was the final image of the night, not because nothing happened after, because not every story needs to be given away all at once. The camera caught Vittoria with her hair loose, her wrist bare, her control still there, but no longer hiding everything. Behind her, the terrace door stayed open to the dark sea. She looked like a woman who had finally asked and survived the answer. I lowered the camera. She did not ask to see the picture. Not this time. Instead, she reached for the folder in my hand and took it back. The next assignment can wait until morning, she said. That is very unlike you. Yes. Should I be concerned? No. She walked to the doorway, then stopped. Dinner is not finished. I glanced toward the dining room. The wine is. I own more wine, Dahlia. I laughed. She almost smiled. Almost. Then she disappeared into the corridor, expecting me to follow. And I did. Because Vittoria was still a locked door, still controlled, still dangerous. But now I knew something I had not known when I arrived. She was not waiting for someone to break the lock. She was waiting for someone to notice she had already opened it.